everyone, my name is Michael Martinez, and my research topic is on planetary nebula. I wanted to know what are they and how they get their shape. This article is by Monica Young, and I took a piece of her article header because I thought it was really interesting. She says, new research shows why planetary nebula range in shapes from spirals to butterflies. Planetary nebula are like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. So, name that movie reference if you know it. Okay, brief background information. Planetary nebula forms when a star can no longer support itself by fusion reactions in its center. The gravity from the material in the outer part of the star takes its inevitable toll on the structure of the star and forces the inner parts to condense and heat up. The high-temperature central regions drive the outer half of the star away in a brisk stellar wind lasting a few thousand years. When the process is complete, the remaining core remnant is uncovered and heats the now distant gases and causes them to glow. And this is what it looks like in the end. Planetary nebula. Okay, brief description of the discovery. The first ever planetary nebula was discovered by Charles Messier in 1764. It's M27, or also known as the Dumbbell Nebula. And the term planetary nebula is kind of a misnomer because it's not really a planet, but the reason it's called that is because Charles Messier thought he was observing Saturn and the outside was the rings, but he actually got mistaken and he actually discovered the first planetary nebula on accident. And this picture was taken by the Hubble, and you can see that the blue represents oxygen, the green represents hydrogen, and the red indicates sulfur and nitrogen. And these formations are really beautiful, and they can be different ones from spirals to roses to butterflies and even cosmic eyes. Oh, also, M27 is about 1,200 light years away in the constellation Vulpecula, with an apparent magnitude of 7.5 and could be observed in early September. More on the discovery. The SINS team studied a sample of 12 AGB stars using the ACTAMA Large Millimeter or Sublimeter Array, or ALMA in Chile. By observing such long wavelengths, ALMA penetrates the gas and dust around the stars to reveal details in the winds and overturning previous assumptions about their shapes, which I think is really fascinating. You look at this right here. And then here is the life of a star, from the main sequence to a giant, to a red giant, to planetary nebula, to white dwarf. And then these are different planetary nebulas. There's Cat-Eye Nebula, Ring Nebula, Eskimo Nebula, Hourglass Nebula, Helix Nebula, and Ghost of Jupiter Nebula. Instruments used to discover or to observe planetary nebulas. The biggest one is the Hubble Space Telescope, which has 3 instruments inside of it, which are cameras, spectrographs, and inframeters. And the optical spectrometer or spectroscope is like when you ever had that glass prism and you put it in front of the light and it shines out all the colors of the rainbow. That's basically what it has inside of itself. And the cameras obviously is to take pictures of not just planetary nebulas, but stars and galaxies also. And here's some more stuff that people use. The advanced cameras for surveys, cosmic origin spectrograph, the Space Telescope's imaging spectrograph, and the Wide Field Camera 3. And they do different wavelengths, like this one does UV, and this one does UV and infrared. Okay, the future of planetary nebulas. Well, I thought the biggest future was obviously the sun. Well, obviously the sun's not going to become, unfortunately, a planetary nebula, but it will become a white dwarf, which will be surrounded by a planetary nebula. And based on Dessin's scientist group, they speculate that Jupiter or Saturn are massive enough to play a role in deciding that nebula's shape. So conclusion, planetary nebulas are fascinating forms of gas. They are formed because of the fusion reactions in the center. They become different shapes like spirals, roses, butterflies, and even cosmic eyes. The instruments used are Hubble. Okay. And these are my questions. How does planetary nebula form? What are two types of planetary nebulas? What is an instrument used to observe planetary nebulas? And that is it. Thank you very much.